Welcome to this edition of ARTV News. I'm Tony Beauvais. In this show, we'll look at what's happening at the Alex Theatre this month, events around Melbourne, and exhibitions that are finishing this week, and we'll cross to ARTV Magazine with Morgan Ray. The girls from the runaway hit podcast We Don't Have Time for This are going on tour with an all-singing, all-dancing, Dillamond-filled evening celebrating motherhood, female friendship, and what it means to be a woman. The two full-time working mums with lots of opinions and no time are childhood besties Gemma Pina and Kate Reeves. It's on at the Alex Theatre on the 16th of August. Check out the website for details. Impromptunes is Australia's leading improvised comedy troupe, combining the mischief of improvisation with the magic of musical theatre. The troupe debuted in 2013 and has since performed across Australia and internationally at Melbourne International Comedy Festival, Perth Fringe, Adelaide Fringe, Bondi Festival and Edinburgh Fringe. Each live show is a 1-hour improvised musical based on a single audience suggestion. All of the music, dialogue, songs and dance routines are completely made up on the spot. Since 2018, Impromptunes have also released a weekly completely improvised musical podcast episode. To book your tickets to see the Impromptunes at the Alex Theatre on August the 4th, just visit the website. 4 individuals suddenly end up in what could be called the Twilight Zone. 4 strangers to one another have attempted to take their own lives and aren't sure whether or not they have succeeded. This is a dramatic fantasy with comedic elements. It addresses a major issue in society which can never be talked about enough. The idea behind the piece was to provide hope when the well appears to have dried up. The writing by Michael Gray-Griffith balances light and shade, without in any way trivialising suicide. They argue and fall out with each other, then repair the damage and offer each other support. In this no man's land, they are known only by numbers assigned to them. They can't recollect their names or where they live. This powerful story is at the Alex Theatre from the 18th to 20th of August. Visit the website for booking details.
Cirque du Soleil is back this month with their 42nd iteration, Crystal. Crystal explores the artistic possibilities of ice for the first time, seamlessly combining mesmerising ice skating and awe-inspiring acrobatics. Accompany the lead character Crystal as she embarks on a journey of self-discovery, immersing herself in a world of creativity and boundless imagination. Crystal invites you to suspend reality and glide into a world of visual extravagance as world-class talents blur the line between gliding sports and circus arts.
MLOC, one of Melbourne's oldest theatre community associations, is proud to present its latest production of Fiddler on the Roof. The show's directors, Adrian and Sarah Globbert, are thrilled to have the opportunity to bring this 9-time Tony Award-winning production to life. Fiddler on the Roof is a story that sadly continues to be told to this day. In 1905, the Jews of Vanatevka were forced out of their homeland. Now, in 2023, native Ukrainians, including some of the cast, have fled their war-torn country as their aggressive neighbour denies them the right to live peacefully and independently. You can expect to experience the full range of human emotions with MLOC's Fiddler on the Roof. From its joyous and inspiring ensemble, numbers and dazzling Cossack dancing to its brutally realistic depiction of aggression and fear, MLOC's production will tell the story of family, faith and facing prejudice in a way you've never seen before, and with a cast that will leave you with tears of joy and sadness. Fiddler on the Roof is on at the Alex Theatre till the 13th of August, so book now.
Australia's biggest national portrait competition is set to be on display this month. The National Photographic Portrait Prize received over 2,400 applicants from aspiring and professional portrait artists in 2023, with the 47 finalists now having their work displayed at the National Portrait Gallery from the 17th of June to the 2nd of October. The winner of this prestigious competition, which has been running since 2007, will be announced on the launch day of the exhibition and will receive $30,000 from the National Portrait Gallery and $20,000 worth of equipment from Canon Australia. The winner will join an exclusive club of other artists that have won this prestigious award. This includes last year's winner, Wayne Quillman for Silent Strength, Lee Grant's photo of social housing worker Charlie that took top honours in 2018, and of course the inaugural winner in 2007 of Robert Scott Mitchell for the Lindy Lee photo called Birth and Death. The winner will be decided by National Portrait Gallery Senior Advisor Joanna Gilmore, Director of the Centre for Contemporary Photography Daniel Bokier-Smith, and critically acclaimed photo media artist Tamara Dean. They will be tasked with picking the portrait that showcases the themes and characteristics of their chosen person through their artwork. The general public will also be able to vote for their favourite in the People's Choice Award whilst also at the exhibition. For more information, other exhibitions at the National Portrait Gallery and the selected finalists, visit the website.
The sold-out 2022 Melbourne winter event Lightscape is back and reconceived for 2023. Partnered and powered by Red Energy and presented by Sony Music and the Royal Botanic Gardens, Victoria. After massive success in the United Kingdom and the United States, you can immerse yourself in groups of up to 20 in the lights, colours and reflections of the mesmerising After Dark displays. See exhibitions of LEDs, colourful installations, soundscapes and sculptures on this outdoor public walk event, including a new 2-kilometre trail around the lake where you can see a variety of artworks that burst in over 100,000 lights, such as the Winter Cathedral or an 8-metre sphere filled with 20,000 moving LEDs. While the singing trees may lure you away, make sure to check out the Lightscape Welcome Zone, where you can get some food and drink from Melbourne's food trucks and pop-up bars. Food and beverages will also be available at the Observatory Gate entry along the trail and the terrace. You should give yourself around 90 minutes to have the whole experience. No pets beyond service animals, and Lightscape will continue in rain or wind events unless considered hazardous, so check the weather forecast. There are also relaxed sessions for those who may be more suited to experience the event in a more relaxing and calming environment. For more details, visit the website.
At this dynamite exhibition, we may marvel at the world's most complete Triceratops skeleton. Horridus the Triceratops has arrived at Melbourne Museum, where visitors can see the massive dinosaur as part of the stunning display. Triceratops, Fate of the Dinosaurs, takes across 2 levels of Melbourne Museum in an exhibition that follows the evolution of dinosaurs through the eyes of Horridus, a Triceratops. Horridus, the most intact Triceratops skeleton in the world, will also be on display as part of the exhibition. This massive creature has 266 bones and weighs more than 1,000 kilograms. Triceratops was colossal, over 2 meters tall and up to 8 meters long. That's as tall as a Melbourne mid-tram and over 1/4 the length. Horridus the Triceratops is a simply spectacular fossil, with the science behind Triceratops revealed like never before. The first Triceratops fossil was discovered in 1887. Scientists thought the horn must belong to some sort of bison. Today, those mighty horns and distinctive frill make Triceratops one of the most recognizable dinosaurs to have walked the planet. Visitors will also learn about the process of fossilization and paleontology, following the story of the dinosaurs from Horridus' time to the present day, where dinosaur descendants dwell among us as birds. For more information, visit the website.
Symbols may not be at the front of our thoughts that often, but they have been a definitive source of communication since early mankind. Often, the association with a symbol was all early man needed. A sign representing an idea or an object was all it took to communicate. So it makes sense that symbols became a part of our universal language. Given the ancients' respect and values placed on the planets, it is not surprising that symbols were created to represent what were considered the heavenly bodies within the universe. From the confidence of Jupiter to the beauty of Venus, each planet has been given its own symbolic meaning. The fact that the ancients introduced astrology symbols as part of our universal language so many years ago makes perfect sense. The amount of respect given to the stars since man first arrived has never been and will never be equal. Astrology symbols represent a variety of characteristics and influences from each of the signs. From the confidence of the Aries ram to the balance of Libra's scales, each sign has its own symbol for a purpose. The symbol for Aries is the ram. The ram as a symbol represents the horns of a ram. It signifies a head-on approach to life, and the ram reflects leadership, confidence, drive and courage. The symbol for Taurus is the bull. The bull as a symbol represents the head and the horns of a bull. It signifies a sturdy approach to life. The bull reflects strength, power, stamina and resolution. The symbol for Gemini is the twins. The twins as a symbol shows two lines joined together. The twins reflect intellect, creativity, interaction, adaptability and liberty. The symbol for Cancer is the crab. The crab as a symbol represents self-preservation. The crab reflects complexity, sensitivity, support, durability and emotion. The symbol for Leo is the lion. The lion as a symbol represents the mane of the lion. The lion reflects leadership, nobility, strength, courage and pride. The symbol for Virgo is the virgin. The virgin as a symbol represents the sexual organs with an inward tail closing off entry. The virgin reflects practicality, perfectionism, truth, dignity and composure. The symbol for Libra is the scales. The scales as a symbol represents a setting sun balanced between night and day. And the scales reflect harmony, partnerships, fairness, popularity and beauty. The symbol for Scorpio is the scorpion. The scorpion as a symbol represents the male sexual organs with an upturned tail striving for a higher calling to action. And the scorpion reflects intensity, inspiration, assertiveness and purpose. The symbol for Sagittarius is the archer. The arrow as a symbol represents the drawn arrow of the archer. The arrow reflects bravery, direction, focus, poise and thought. The symbol for Capricorn is the goat. The goat as a symbol represents the beard of the goat, as in the V, and the tail of a fish. The goat reflects leadership, practicality, patience, truth and pride. The symbol for Aquarius is the water bearer, and the water bearer reflects freshness, equality, vision, freedom and individuality. The symbol for Pisces is the two fish, and the fish reflect unity, mysticism, understanding, honesty and emotion. Some symbols are so ancient, it's not quite fully understood just how they evolved. But what we can be certain of, however, is that they have been a definitive source of communication for thousands of years.
On today's program, we have Bronwyn Kidd, an Australian photographer known for her fashion and portraiture. Welcome to the show, Bronwyn.
Thank you, Morgan. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Now tell us a little bit about where you began in the fashion industry. I believe it was in London, correct?
Yeah, I went to London after having done some study at RMIT and failing RMIT, and I assisted some local photographers for a couple of years, and then I went to London. And when I got to London, I hooked up with a friend who was already working as a photographic assistant for some fashion photographers. And when she saw the work that I'd been doing for my folio to take to London, she said, "You must go and meet Hardy Amies." And I didn't realise who Hardy Amies was. I didn't know who Hardy Amies was, but basically he's the couturier for the Queen. He is in the famous Savile Row. So I went off, still not knowing really who he was, took my folio in and started working with him. I was 23 and pretty green, actually. Not really understanding, the history behind where I was standing, and what I saw was just a slice of yesteryear that was still happening in 1992, and it was so exciting. The clothes, the ball gowns, the incredible suits, the aristocracy that walked through the door. I wasn't shooting for them all the time, but I did several seasons work for them, and also they asked me to photograph their new bridal collection, which Hardy Amies wanted to shoot at Buckingham Palace, but the Charles and Diana split up just at that time, so that didn't happen. But it was an amazing introduction to what was a really different style of fashion that was going on because the grunge movement was happening at that time. And there I was in couture world while grunge was happening. It was odd, but it was kind of perfect for me.
Right. How was that being behind the lens and seeing a whole nother world to maybe what was going on in reality?
It kind of felt right for me because growing up, my mum loved sort of Hitchcock movies, and I don't know how many times I saw Rear Window and that whole elegance, and the whole 1940s, the gowns and everything. I suppose it was just an extension of that fantasy world for me, and the way that I shot was right for them. So I was, I was a disciplined classic photographer. I did cinematic lighting. I positioned the gown. It wasn't bridal. It wasn't like you might think of. It was couture. It was sort of following in the footsteps of Beaton, Parkinson. The photographers that did all those gown images, and Beaton shot for Hardy Amy's also. So. It just felt like a great, perfect start for me, as a young photographer.
Right. So, I mean, you were young. You were so young, and you'd failed out of college. So, did you just have this style of your own that emerged through just getting and doing the work? Yeah.
When I ended up going part-time because I'd failed the science part of the art degree at college. I just wasn't interested, in that, and so I started assisting. And the photographer that I assisted was very influenced by Richard Avedon and the classic photographers Guy Bourdin, the beautiful old world of Horst, and so it influenced me as well. And it's just the right fit. He was the right fit for me. Going to London and working with Hardy Amy's was the right fit, and it just felt comfortable. It wasn't, I suppose, until digital that things started to change, and our shooting style changed. And with Photoshop, our shooting style changed as well. But pre all of that, I was working with hand retouchers that retouched in the 1930s for beauty campaigns. I was working with then people who did airbrushing. I was working with Parkinson and Beaton's printers, through Condé Nast, and so the world hadn't changed that much, when I first started from the yesteryear or the time when the people that I really admired were working, like Beaton and Parkinson, etc. Our technique was still the same, but then when digital came, a lot changed. Things got kind of sassier and a little bit more sci-fi, and a little bit more very retouched, and makeup changed, and everything changed, and really I had to change with that by that time. But I was lucky to have that kind of introduction where I could really firmly place my feet on the ground and do what I really loved doing, and live in that fantasy world for as long as I could, Yeah,
when you have such vibrant, colorful, well, I mean, actually it varies between black and white and colorful, but you spoke about influence, digital, and you're on Instagram. How has that been in this digital world with copywriting or people using images? Have you had any experiences?
Yeah, it's very hard. I stick to my principles. I've had some people change colours of my photos when they've, put them on their own feed. I've had even pictures that have been done by clients 30 years ago, then be, a colour picture be turned to black and white. We never shot in black and white, things like that. And I've really put my foot down. I've called them and I said, you can't do this, I think for me, having had a very quite a long time, half of my career in analog, the process is really important. You choose a roll of film because you want a certain look. So when someone takes it and completely changes it, that's really changing the whole structure of the image and the intent of the image. So I call it out, you know, when I can. Some things though you just kind of have to let go, and some publicities, you know, just you think, well, I'll just let that go when people sort of, you know, take your image. But you know, it's grey. It's a grey area. It's up to us to enforce how we want it to look.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, on a brighter note,
yeah. Sorry.
no, but I think this is relevant.
Yeah.
You know, to be talked about, because I've had experience with it, and I've heard about others. So it's copyright is a hot topic.
Yeah.
Now, what's it been like from, you know, going from London, where you're in fashion, and then you're here back in Australia, and you're now doing your own work?
Yeah.
I mean, what is that like?
Yeah, it's I came back in 2004, and I sort of hit the ground running doing commercial work. I was doing quite big ad campaigns, and I think, you know, that has its time. I felt like I needed to step out, so I had a bit of time out, and I went back on my archive back to 1985, and I started to revisit all my images, and that was quite a journey. It's like reading an old diary. It's consuming, and it's not something you can do really quickly, but I think it sort of put my love for photography back into perspective, my love for the craft of photography back into perspective, and I think that's something now, you know, moving into, I mean, I've always done images that have been quite highly directed by me and my team, even if it's a commercial job, but now moving into more of a world where I'm just making pictures, you know, for the wall. I'm really excited to put everything I know and have learnt into those images, and for it to be very authentic photography.
And you mentioned team. Do you have a team working with you now?
At the moment, no, but I have always had a team. I've had makeup artists, you know, stylists, my assistants, maybe 3 or 4 of them. I've always had, you know, art directors to work with, and creative directors, and a client. But at the moment, well, yeah, I'm working on a collaboration with Rosalind Piggott. We're doing some portraits together, which is really exciting. So I suppose that's a new style of team, where her input is really important because they're portraits of her. So that it's a new approach. It's not like the team I'm used to. Well, I still collaborate with my team, but it's more of it's a different type of collaboration.
Oh, and now, what would you like our viewers to know, or like, what's a message that you could share for those that are starting out in the field of photography? Do you have any tips for them?
I think it's really important to look at film, look at painting, look at all types of art to sort of find your expression. And I think it's really important to look back on history as well and see what people have done before, because, you know, it's extraordinary what's been done. And for me, myself, I've been recently looking at I recently did an orotone, which is a gold glass print. I've never delved into those worlds, but again, it's sort of it's deepened my understanding of photography. I think you know, take your time, research, experiment, and above all, you know, enjoy it.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you, Morgan. Thank you.
That's all for now. If you'd like to contact us and let us know about any live event going on in the inner Melbourne region, shoot us an email. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.